Anitra, we are both nerds.
We sure are.
Yeah. And we're proud of being nerds, because being a nerd is about enthusiasm for things you like, and learning, and using your brain, no matter what that actual subject is. So, this week we're going to talk about a game that does exactly that. Nerd Words Science.
Nerd Words is a team-based clue-giving game by Eric Slauson and John Caveu, and published by Genius Games. The box here says it's for 2 to 12 players, ages 13 and up, and it plays in about 40 minutes or so.
Well, Anitra, let's talk about the art in Nerd Words.
Since this is a word-guessing and clue-giving game, there's not a lot of art here. We've got cards with science words, whiteboards for each team, and a separate one for the clue giver, a scoreboard, and point trackers.
The color choice for the point trackers is a little bit weird. The blue and the black look very similar, and there's so many colors in the rainbow.
So let's talk about the mechanics and how you actually play Nerd Words Science. It's obvious from the components here that this is a word-guessing game, but it's not as freeform as you might think.
The first hint that this game is a little different is that the teams start with 6 points.
Do I sense some betting?
To start the game, though, the clue giver needs to pick a word or phrase off one of their cards, like this. They'll write the number of words, usually 1, sometimes 2, that are in their science term. Then, they'll have to come up with a clue, like this. Here's the kicker, though. That clue has to start with a letter that's in the answer word, but not the first letter, and not part of the word.
Then the clue giver will secretly bet some number of points that someone will try to guess their clue. And both teams get to attempt to guess. After the timer runs out, all of the teams reveal their guesses, and the bet that the guessers made. In this case, I bet 0, because I'm not very confident at all. If anyone got it right, the clue giver's team gets whatever points the clue giver bet. If nobody got it right, the clue giver's team loses those points. But any team that did get it right gets the number of points on their board plus the number they bet. But of course, if they bet something and got it wrong, they're going to lose those points, just the points that they bet, though, not the other ones over here.
If no one guesses correctly, clues continue until the 4th clue. If you get all the way down here, that 4th clue must start with the same letter as the answer. Everything else remains the same.
Go around the table doing this until everyone has had a chance to give 2 clues. Then, whichever team has the most points wins. You can play Nerd Word Science with fewer than 4 players. There's a 3-player variation with 3 teams, each made up of 1 person. And there's also a 2-player cooperative version.
So Anitra, let's talk about what we expected from Nerd Word Science.
I first heard about Nerd Words from our friends at BGE a couple of years ago, formerly Board Gaming with Education. They said it was a great tool for reviewing science terms and really well suited to a classroom setting. So I expected a pretty typical word-guessing game like a Pictionary or a Taboo, something with big teams and big clues and just lots of craziness back and forth.
For me, my expectations were pretty much the same. It's a word game. I should have known better that coming from Genius Games, something was going to be a little bit different, but again, it's a word game. But it is from Genius Games, so there were some surprises. What surprised us about this game?
Nerd Words is a way more challenging game than I expected. The restrictions on how to give clues, plus the bidding, means you're really stretching your brain constantly. The words included in the game span lots of different scientific disciplines, which could be challenging with younger kids. But I love the way that everyone stays involved. All the teams get to guess on every single clue.
I actually totally agree on the stretching of the brain part. Even though the requirements that clue words have to start with letters inside the answer word isn't, thematically scientific, it does provide a limitation that actually makes sense, that really makes you think about all of the aspects of that answer word. It's a really great educational tool in that way. So Anitra, do we recommend Nerd Word Science?
I think this game would be great for high schoolers and adults, especially in a larger group like a classroom setting, where teams can brainstorm to come up with their words and with their bets. The game even includes a whole deck of blank cards so that teachers could customize this to the science words that they're currently working on. I wouldn't recommend the game for kids under 12, though, or for groups of fewer than 5 players.
I agree. This is a great game where the players are really trying to dig into the subject matter. Looking at something from all of its different angles is a really good way to understand it deeply, and it kind of helps with explaining the subject matter at hand.
All of the aspects of a word.
So, Anitra, what are we going to rate Nerd Words Science?
We're going to give this game 3.5 nerdy words out of 5.
That's fair. And that's Nerd Word Science
In a snap.
Did you know that the Family Gamers has a weekly podcast? Oh, and over 500 reviews on our website. Check it out at thefamilygamers.com.
Anitra is fussy.
A little bit.
Good enough.